Okay, so the Lord of Misrule. Boy, this one very friggin' creepy indeed. Right? It is the new film from William Brent Bell, written by Tom de Ville. The film is produced by Brent Bell, Nick Bauer, Alison Brister, Laurie Cook, Deepak Nair, Jason Newmark, and James Tomlinson. It's executive produced by Ozin O'Neill, Adam Nagel, Stephen Kelleher, John Gleason, Yana Georgievera, Ed Freeman, Mark Fielding, and Laura Brooke. It is line produced by Danielle Harvey. Okay, so Brett Datta handles the music, Simon Rowling cinematography, Andrew Levin edits the piece, while Alison Butler is production design, Stephen Granger art direction, Clemency Cartwright set decoration, and Libby DaCosta is costume design. Our cast, well, Rebecca Holland is played by Tuppence Middleton. Her husband Henry is played by Matt Stokey. And her daughter Grace is played by Evie Templeton. There is Joycelyn Abney, who's played by Ralph Ineson. We've got George Furley, played by Anton Valenci. Miri Tremlow, played by Rosalind March. Byrony Furley, played by Alexa Goddell. Graham Nash, played by Robert Goodman. Ida Tremlow, played by Jane Wood. D.I. Hive, played by David Langham. Derry Nash, played by Luke Innocent. David Garfoot, played by George Keller. Oh, Callie Furlow, played by Katrina Yuli. That's probably the main group. Now, the gist: Rebecca Holland has recently taken over as vicar of a rural English village when her young daughter Grace goes missing at the local festival. The villagers and local police join in a desperate search. However, the closer they edge towards finding Grace, the more secrets emerge from the village's dark past. Soon, Rebecca must decide just how much she is willing to sacrifice to rescue her daughter from the grip of evil. Now, there's a bit of a kind of statement-ish type of thing. So let's do this. Producer Nick Bauer became involved in a project in 2021 through James Newark, who had developed the script with his partner Laurie Cook. Jason and Laurie had wanted to work with screenwriter Tom de Ville for some time. We pitched him the concept of a vicar as a central character battling an evil force that was linked to their city church, explains Laura Cook. Tom took this idea and came back with something wholly original, with its own detailed mythology, resetting the story to a rural village and weaving in a backstory about origins of the church there and its battle with a pagan sect. Now, playing on from that, it says around the time that Tom de Ville was working on the script for Lord of Misrule, He was aware that two very significant things were happening. Firstly, people were starting to take renewed interest in folk horror through the rediscovery of writers like Robert Aikman. And secondly, the real world was torn apart by some very messy politics. Brexit in the UK, Trump in the US. For de Ville, these two elements went hand in hand. As he explains, folk horror is fundamentally about old fears and superstitions turning people against each other, generally driven by blind faith. That's exactly what we saw happening in that period of recent history. So Lord of Misrule became my film that about populism, the way it's turned politics into blind faith, and the way so many people choose blind faith to decide how they will live their lives and shape the lives of others. Now, that's I think that's definitely a thing to some extent. I'm not quite sure how much. He also says the film was originally called Heretic, the story was set in London and the enemy were devil worshippers. But Lord of Misrule was set in the countryside, and de Ville created an old superstition around Gallogog that would take over the village when the vicar's child went missing. Now, I think all of these things are very interesting. And I think the film really does create an atmosphere. Oh my days. It really creates an atmosphere. The score works a lot of strings, creepy music. There's the understanding of how to change the focus, right? The angles used and the use of cut editing, right? Lingering on a scene for a stretch longer than normal, cutting away quickly from another, right? Reversing the angles. All of these things really do work very well to create this unnerving atmosphere. And you're not quite sure what's happening or where we're going, right? There's a lot of kind of visions, which wait, was that real? Is that a vision? Right? There's a lot of that at some points. So you're definitely a little perplexed and wondering, who can you trust? Right? What's the overarching thing in this place? Right? Is it the Christian church? Is it this pagan belief? Right? What's happening? So that was like, oh, okay, where are we going? What are we doing? Now, there were a few things that I wasn't quite, because I think as in the synopsis, it says that as they get closer to finding grace. Well, we don't really get that, because from the beginning, there is a resistance here. Like the police are acting weird. So I think the kind of misbalance between the church and this other thing that I think there's no clue of at the beginning, right? Rebecca has no inkling of any of this. I think it's becomes too evident too quickly, right? I think if it was a little bit subtler, and there's you'd be like, wait, is this in her mind? Is this the grief? What is happening? But straight away you can see, oh, there's something. And I think we're shown something, but when someone's at a piano, that you just been like, that probably, no, you shouldn't have seen that there. Because seeing it, you then go, okay, something's up here. Where if we hadn't have seen it, I think you would have been a bit more, ooh, where are we going here? Right? Which would have made it super just like tense up to the very end. You know what I mean? I think then there is the question of the sacrifice Rebecca is willing to make. It we don't really see it. Right? Obviously she's done it, but we don't really see it. Right? And I think it works best if you understand the magnitude of what someone has to do. You know what I mean? So I think it's very interesting, right? It's very interesting. The acting is very good, though I will say I wasn't quite sure about the relationship with Henry and Rebecca. Didn't fully buy a loving couple, but the acting is very good. The kids do a really good job as well. So there's a lot really going for this film. And I think if you do like those kind of creepy, um, folklorish kind of things, you know, like I hear Midsummer is very good. Haven't seen it, but like It Lives Inside, Cobweb, Nyan, all very good, right? I wouldn't say Lord of Mischief is quite up there, but if you enjoy those films, I think you will have a nice time with Lord of Misrule, right? Yeah, I think it will work for you people. And you will be able to check it out, right, when it hits a VOD near you on Monday, the 8th of January. So, yeah, mark it down. Monday, the 8th, Lord of Misrule. Ooh, do you want to go into the woods? Do you want to mess around with creepy stuff? Well, that's the date for you people.